Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here. I ran home, jumped on the computer, and didn't do much else. Like taking care of a few things. And now I'm here. Good morning. Whoa. Let the games begin. Okay. So today is January 27th. Already 2020, Monday, and today is the fifth week already. Fifth week of the Bible reading, where I will be reading the Bible. Obviously, I'll be reading from this particular Bible here, New Believer's Bible, compact version, links in the description box, and I'm following this here guide, The Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year by Diane Stortz, which is also in the description. The link if you want to get it yourself. Quick screen share, well, actually more than a quick screen share because don't you guys start acting up. Since this is a whole new week, I got like a whole new intro here. But I do like to show the cover for anybody watching this for the first time. This is the book. I got the Kindle version. I downloaded it for like $6 or something. And that's it. A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year. A life-changing journey into the heart of God. And we finished up with the fourth week last week, which was the I Am. This week is week 5, talking about a holy nation. So if you click on the book, you will get this here, and I will give you the introduction right now. A holy nation. The blood of a sacrificial lamb on the doorpost of their homes protected the Israelites from the final plague God brought against Egypt. Then, more than 2 million strong, with their flocks and herds, and with valuable gifts from their Egyptian neighbors, the Israelites hurried out of Egypt. But even after their release from slavery and their dramatic rescue through the Red Sea, the Israelites had trouble trusting God's care and provision. God continued to show his faithfulness, however. He made a covenant with the entire nation to make them his special people, with a special purpose. He gave the 10 Commandments and the laws found in Exodus 20 through 23 to describe how his people should live because of their relationship with him. On the mountain with God, Moses received instructions for the tabernacle where God would dwell among his people. Everything about the tabernacle's design, furnishings, and care signified God's absolute perfection and holiness. God also described for Moses the special clothing and duties of the priest who would offer sacrifices for the sins of the people. And there's a quote underneath by Catherine McKenzie that says, "If I were to go through the Word of God, studying only one word, love, I would never get to the end of the wonders." And the checkpoints for this section is the Passover lamb, water from the rock, a father-in-law's wise advice, eagle's wings, and a meal on the mountain. And here's the breakdown of what we'll be reading. Today's Monday, we'll be reading Exodus 10 through 12. On Tuesday, we'll do 13 through 15. Wednesday, 16 through 18. Thursday, 19 through 21. Friday, 22 through 24. Saturday, 25 through 27. And on Sunday, 28 through 30. So we're going to stay in the book of Exodus this whole time. And yeah, now that we got the little screen share shared, let's get back to me and this beautiful background here. What do you guys think about this background here? I'm thinking about switching it up, trying to keep it a little bit fresh. Just to kind of give a little inspirational outlook here. Last week I think I had a picture of a beach or something, and this time I kind of found this picture here. It was kind of nice. I might switch it up by tomorrow. Let me get back to my chat room because I don't see what I'm doing. Help, somebody help. Help me, help, somebody help. Here we go. I don't know why, but when I come back to YouTube, my feed is like way behind. Okay, here we go. I can see myself. I can see you guys. And let's get started. Today is Exodus 10 through 12. and I like to do a quick recap. Wait, let's see. Okay, so 10 through 12 starts here. Oh, yeah. I went through the whole night without eating a decent meal, and I forgot my lunch, so I was trying to stuff my face with tortilla chips and Capri Suns. Was that 4 through? No, that's not 4 through 6. 4 through 6 was the other day. Yesterday should have been 7 through 9. Okay, so quick recap of yesterday. Yesterday we went over chapter 7, which was Aaron, his brother, Aaron, Moses' brother. Aaron's staff becomes a serpent or a snake. Then there was a plague of blood. Then there was a plague of frogs in chapter 8. A plague of gnats. Ooh, those pesky gnats. They are just, oof. A plague of flies, a plague against livestock, a plague of festering boils, a plague of hail, and that is where we left off. So today we're still in Egypt. The Israelites are still trying their best to get up out of there, but Pharaoh's being quite stubborn, and that's why all these plagues are plaguing him and his people. So let's pick it up at Exodus chapter 10, a plague of locusts. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Return to Pharaoh and make your demands again. I have made him and his officials stubborn so I can display my miraculous signs among them. I've also done it so you can tell your children and grandchildren about how I made a mockery of the Egyptians and about the signs I displayed among them, and so you will know that I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go, so they can worship me. If you refuse, watch out, for tomorrow I will bring a swarm of locusts on your country. They will cover the land so you won't be able to see the ground. They will devour what little is left of your crops after the hailstorm, including all the trees growing in the fields. They will overrun your palaces and the homes of your officials and all the houses in Egypt. Never in history of Egypt have your ancestors seen a plague like this one." And with that, Moses turned and left Pharaoh. Pharaoh's officials now came to Pharaoh and appealed to him. "How long will you let this man hold us hostage? Let the men go to worship the Lord their God. Don't you realize that Egypt lies in ruins?" So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. "All right," he told them, "go and worship the Lord your God. But who exactly will be going with you?" Moses replied, "We will all go, young and old, our sons and daughters, and our flocks and herds. We must all join together in celebrating a festival to the Lord." Pharaoh retorted, "The Lord would certainly need to be with you if I let you take your little ones. I can see through your evil plan. Never. Only the men may go and worship the Lord, since that is what you requested." And Pharaoh threw them out of the palace. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Raise your hand over the land of Egypt to bring on the locusts. Let them cover the land and devour every plant that survived the hailstorm." So Moses raised his staff over Egypt, and the Lord caused an east wind to blow over the land all that day and through the night. When the morning arrived, the east wind had brought the locusts, and the locusts swarmed over the whole land of Egypt, settling in dense swarms from one end of the country to the other. It was the worst locust plague in Egyptian history, and there has never been another one like it. For the locusts covered the whole country and darkened the land. They devoured every plant in the fields and all the fruit on the trees that had survived the hailstorm. Not a single leaf was left on the trees and plants throughout the land of Egypt. Pharaoh quickly summoned Moses and Aaron. "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you," he confessed. "Forgive my sin just this once, and plead with your Lord your God to take away this death from me." So Moses left Pharaoh's court and pleaded with the Lord. The Lord responded by shifting the wind, and the strong west wind blew the locusts into the Red Sea. Not a single locust remained in all the land of Egypt, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart again, so he refused to let the people go. Now, how many times has this been? I'm just wondering if there's a significance with the numbers here. I'm going to pick up with the plague of darkness in verse 21 in one moment, but I just want to see the significance of any of these numbers. Let's see. We see the plague of the blood, plague of the frogs, gnats, flies, the livestock all mysteriously died, festering boils, hail, locusts. There's another one coming up, and another one. I won't reveal what they are yet. So that's 9. 9. The other day, I made a video about the number 40 and some significance of 40. Some of it was secular, some of it was scientific, some of it was spiritual, and the number 9 came up, I want to say, as punishment. I don't go all off into numerology too much, but there is a Jewish belief of numbers and their significance of meanings and how numbers correlate with different words and the number of letters in the word. So I just like to look at different things and see if I can see a pattern. It may mean something, it may not, but let's read on. Picking up in verse 21 of chapter 10 is, let's see, Brene says, Pharaoh keeps asking for forgiveness, then messes up. Yeah, he's asking, air quotes, asking for forgiveness. I don't know if he's sincere or not. Then the Lord said to Moses, lift your hand toward heaven, and the land of Egypt will be covered with a darkness so thick you can feel it. So Moses lifted his hand to the sky, and a deep darkness covered the entire land of Egypt for 3 days. During all that time, the people could not see each other, and no one moved. But there was light, as usual, where the people of Israel lived. Finally, Pharaoh called for Moses. Go and worship the Lord, he said, but leave your flocks and herds here. You may even take your little ones with you. No, Moses said, you must provide us with animals for sacrifices and burnt offerings to the Lord. All our livestock must go with us too. Not a hoof can be left behind. We must choose our sacrifices for the Lord our God among these animals, and we won't know how we are to worship the Lord until we get there. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart once more, and he would not let them go. Get out of here, Pharaoh shouted at Moses. I'm warning you, never come back to me again. The day you see my face, you will die. Very well, Moses replied. I will never see your face again. Chapter 11, Death for Egypt's firstborn. Then the Lord said to Moses, I will strike Pharaoh and the land of Egypt with one more blow. After that, Pharaoh will let you leave this country. In fact, he will be so eager to get rid of you that he will force you all to leave. Tell all the Israelite men and women to ask their Egyptian neighbors for articles of silver and gold. Now the Lord had caused the Egyptians to look favorably on the people of Israel, and Moses was considered a very great man in the land of Egypt, respected by Pharaoh's officials and the Egyptian people alike. Oh yeah, I forgot. Little baby Moses, little baby Moses, found in the river, brought up in the house of the Pharaoh, raised by Pharaoh's daughter, pretty much raised by Pharaoh himself as a father figure. The only reason he left is because he got angry and killed that Egyptian that was abusing that Israelite. So he went away and came back. Is it that the Pharaoh held a grudge against him? Is it that he forgot? You don't forget somebody that you basically raised. Or is it just that maybe he never really had that much affection for him after all? Because I'm sure he knew this is not an Egyptian, orphaned boy. This is one of those guys, but my daughter loves the baby, so I gotta deal with it. I'm just curious. That's my commentary for the moment. Let's see. Okay, verse 4 of chapter 11. Moses had announced to Pharaoh, this is what the Lord says. At midnight tonight, I will pass through the heart of Egypt. All the firstborn sons will die in every family in Egypt, from the oldest son of Pharaoh, who sits on his throne, to the oldest son of his lowliest servant girl, who grinds the flour. Even the firstborn of all the livestock will die. Then a loud wail will rise throughout the land of Egypt, a wail like no one has ever heard before or will ever hear again. But among the Israelites, it will be so peaceful that not even a dog will bark. Then you will know that the Lord makes a distinction between the Egyptians and the Israelites. All the officials of Egypt will run to me and fall to the ground before me. Please leave, they will beg. Hurry and take all your followers with you. Only then will I go. Then, burning with anger, Moses left Pharaoh. Now the Lord had told Moses earlier, Pharaoh will not listen to you, but then I will do even more mighty miracles in the land of Egypt. Moses and Aaron performed these miracles in Pharaoh's presence, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he wouldn't let the Israelites leave the country. And now, chapter 12, the first Passover. While the Israelites were still in the land of Egypt, the Lord gave the following instructions to Moses and Aaron. From now on, this month will be the first month of the year for you. Announce to the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each family must choose a lamb or a young goat for sacrifice, one animal for each household. If a family is too small to eat a whole animal, let them share with another family in the neighborhood. Divide the animal according to the size of each family and how much they can eat. The animal you select must be a 1-year-old male, either a sheep or a goat, with no defects. Take special care of this chosen animal until the evening of the 14th day of this first month. Then the whole assembly of the community of Israel must slaughter their lamb or young goat at twilight. They are to take some of the blood and smear it on the sides and top of the door frames of the houses where they eat the animal. That same night they must roast the meat over a fire and eat it along with the bitter salad greens and bread made without yeast. Do not eat any of the meat raw or boiled in water. The whole animal, including the head, legs, and internal organs, must be roasted over a fire. Do not leave any of it until the next morning. Burn whatever is not eaten before morning. These are your instructions for eating this meal. Be fully dressed, wear your sandals, and carry your walking stick in your hand. Eat the meal with urgency, for this is the Lord's Passover. On that night I will pass through the land of Egypt and strike down every firstborn son and firstborn male animal in the land of Egypt. I will execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt, for I am the Lord. But the blood on your doorposts will serve as a sign, marking the houses where you are staying. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. This plague of death will not touch you when I strike the land of Egypt. This is a day to remember. Each year from generation to generation, you must celebrate it at all time. For 7 days the bread you eat must be made without yeast. On the first day of the festival, remove every trace of yeast from your homes. Anyone who eats bread made with yeast during the 7 days of the festival will be cut off from the community of Israel. On the first day of the festival, and again on the 7th day, all the people must observe an official day for holy assembly. No work of any kind may be done on these days except in the preparation of food. Celebrate this festival of unleavened bread, for it will remind you that I brought your forces out of the land of Egypt on this very day. This festival will be a permanent law for you. Celebrate this day from generation to generation. The bread you eat must be made without yeast from the evening of the 14th day of the first month until the evening of the 21st day of that month. During those 7 days, there must be no trace of yeast in your homes. Anyone who eats anything made with yeast during this week will be cut off from the community of Israel. These regulations apply both to the foreigners living among you and to the native-born Israelites. During those days, you must not eat anything made with yeast. Wherever you live, eat only bread made without yeast. Then Moses called all the elders of Israel together and said to them, Go, pick out a lamb or young goat for each of your families and slaughter the Passover animal. Drain the blood into a basin. Then take a bundle of hyssop branches and dip it into the blood. Brush the hyssop across the top and sides of the door frames of your houses, and no one may go out through the door until morning. For the Lord will pass through the land to strike down the Egyptians, but when he sees the blood on the top and sides of the doorframe, the Lord will pass over your home. He will not permit his death angel to enter your house and strike you down. Remember, these instructions are a permanent law that you and your descendants must observe forever. When you enter the land the Lord has promised to give you, you will continue to observe this ceremony. Then your children will ask, "What does this ceremony mean?" And you'll reply, "It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, for he passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt, and though he struck the Egyptians, he spared our families." When Moses had finished speaking, all the people bowed down to the ground and worshipped. So the people of Israel did just as the Lord had commanded through Moses and Aaron. And that night at midnight the Lord struck down all the firstborn sons in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn son of the prisoner in the dungeon. Even the firstborn of all their livestock were killed. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the people of Egypt woke up during the night, and loud wailing was heard throughout the land of Egypt. There was not a single house where someone had not died. And now, that was a long, long passage, I know. And now, we're still in chapter 12. This is verse 31, where Israel's exodus from Egypt begins. Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron during the night. "Get out," he ordered. "Leave my people and take the rest of the Israelites with you. Go and worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds, as you said, and be gone. Go, but bless me as you leave." All the Egyptians urged the people of Israel to get out of the land as quickly as possible, for they thought, "We will all die." The Israelites took their bread dough before yeast was added. They wrapped their kneading boards in their cloaks and carried them on their shoulders. And the people of Israel did as Moses had instructed. They asked the Egyptians for clothing and articles of silver and gold. The Lord caused the Egyptians to look favorably on the Israelites, and they gave the Israelites whatever they asked for. So they stripped the Egyptians of their wealth. That night the people of Israel left Ramses and started for Sukkoth. There were about 600,000 men, plus all the women and children. A rabble of non-Israelites went with them, along with great flocks and herds of livestock. For bread, they baked flat cakes from the dough without yeast that they had brought from Egypt. It was made without yeast because the people were driven out of Egypt in such a hurry that they had no time to prepare the bread or other food. The people of Israel had lived in Egypt for 430 years. In fact, it was on the last day of the 430th year that all the Lord's forces left the land. On this night, the Lord had kept his promise to bring his people out of the land of Egypt. So this night belongs to him, and it must be commemorated every year by all the Israelites from generation to generation. And now instructions for the Passover. Verse 43. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "These are the instructions for the festival of the Passover. No outsiders are allowed to eat the Passover meal, but any slave who has been purchased may eat it if he has been circumcised. Temporary residents and hired servants may not eat it. Each Passover lamb must be eaten in one house. Do not carry any of its meat outside, and do not break any of its bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate this Passover meal. If there are foreigners living among you who want to celebrate the Lord's Passover, let all their males be circumcised. Only then may they celebrate the Passover with you, like any native-born Israelite. But no uncircumcised male may ever eat the Passover meal. This instruction applies to everyone, whether a native-born Israelite or a foreigner living among you." So all the people of Israel followed all the Lord's commands to Moses and Aaron. On that very last day, the Lord brought the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt like an army. That concludes today's reading. That was chapters 10, 11, and 12 of Exodus. This is leading up to, but they're still not out. I know they are out, but it's not the dramatic part like it shows in the movies. Okay, it looks like we got about two chapters ahead where we're gonna get to the juicy. Well, this has all been pretty juicy, anyways. But tomorrow will be 13, 14, and 15. Wow, this was a quick read today. I'm so happy that I got started so quickly. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I hope you got some value from it. And I'm glad that you took the time to join me. Pardon me, especially with me coming on here a little bit earlier, like I usually do. Not like I usually do. So thank you so much. For anybody who's watching this on the replay, I appreciate you too. Leave a thumbs up now, leave a thumbs up later, leave a thumbs up for the live to let YouTube know what a fine job I'm doing. If you're watching this on replay and you're new here, please consider subscribing. I will be reading the Bible every morning until I get to the end, because that's my New Year's resolution. I want to read the Bible every day and get familiar with it and hopefully live by it a little bit more and more each day. And on that note, I'll do a quick prayer for everybody in the room and everybody on the replay. Lord, thank you for this day. This is your day. Let us all rejoice, rejoice, and be glad in it. Let everyone in the midst of recent celebrity news, let everyone be thankful and show the love and affection that they have for their families, because we never know when our day will be our last, when their day will be their last. Lord, thank you for the time that we do have. I pray that we all have the wisdom and courage to use it wisely, and that we all learn from the readings and from your love. Amen. That was quick. Yeah, it was quick. That was quick. Like the first couple of weeks, I don't know, maybe the chapters just happened to be longer, or I don't know, but yeah. Quick and tidy, quick and tidy. That's how we like to do it here on 40 Entrepreneur Drive. Just get her done. Yep. Okay, so without further ado, I've got a kid to get off to school, and I've got a meeting with the pillow. Got a special appointment with the pillow. We're gonna get real cozy and comfortable together. Thank you all for those who chose to join me on the live stream. Whether you joined in on the chat or you're chilling in the background, either way, I appreciate your presence here. Thank you for the likes. Thanks to all the people joining me on the replay. And thanks for watching Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive, Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive, Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching, share, like, and subscribe. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow me on social media.